As promised when we wrapped up the morning show about 40 minutes ago, because of everything going on, we said we'd be back at noon Eastern, and here we are. Time for another round of Soccer's in Session Live, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. We'll take a look at what happened on the girls' side, as we now know who's going to be playing in the title games. We'll get you caught up on that. But it is boys' semifinal Friday, and we are officially in a no dilly, no dally zone. We're going to get visits from Decatur. We're going to get visits from Cass. We're going to get visits from Johnson Gainesville. And as I said, Decatur first, that means one thing. And we bring in Derek Burgess, the head coach of the Decatur Bulldogs, and the CSD. Coach, thanks for dropping by in the noon hour. What am I getting you out of?
Well, give me some time to kind of think and reflect and share what we have over at Decatur High School. And
so, are you dodging lunch or a classroom duty? What have I gathered you in from? What are folks covering for you right now?
So, in my other life, I'm an IT professional, so it allows me a little bit of flexibility to take some time out and to speak about Decatur soccer, but still able to manage my responsibilities on campus.
There we go.
So, I'm able to fit it in.
There we go. All right. So let's talk about what's been going on. We've had Decatur on the SDH network early this season, and you've made it through as a 4 seed. What has this ride been like for you guys here in the postseason?
We've kind of taken the title of Road Warriors. Every match has been on the road. We've been successful. We've been to most corners in Georgia. What we're doing right now is what we expected, to be honest with you. We knew we had the potential. We're a young group, but we thought if we could mature and gain maturity towards the end of the season, that what we're doing right now will be possible. And so said, so done.
Come through as the 4 seed. You go to Greenbrier. You put 5 on the board there. You go to Hamilton. You knock off Harris County. You win 2-1 there. And then you go to Chattahoochee and win it 1-0. Run through the Chattahoochee match for anybody that didn't have the chance to see it and what went down to give you the 1-0 win.
So, the coaches got together and put together a game plan, and we knew on paper we would be slight underdogs. But we also felt it was a match that we can win. We thought we had to tweak the way in which we play just a little bit to give a little bit better of a matchup. We knew Chattahoochee's strengths in terms of how they really rely on set pieces. We also found some ways in which we thought that we can hurt them. And as we said to the boys, it's like, hey, we just need to be disciplined. We've played the game 50 times before we even got there. So when we got there, we had done this already 50 times. And to our credit, our boys, kept their discipline, fought deep, absorbed some pressure, and then took the opportunity when they was able to, and we was able to get a 1-0 result versus the number 14 team in the nation.
For those that haven't had the chance to see you play or haven't had the chance to catch up with your action here on the network, when things are going well for Decatur High, how would you best describe how things are breaking out offensively and defensively?
So for us, I don't think we have any one special player, right? So when you talk about Decatur, you want to talk about the team. So on any given night, we can have a different goal scorer, right? So, for example, our leading goal scorer this season is a sophomore. The player that scored the winning goal versus Chattahoochee is a freshman. The players that scored versus Harris County, one is a freshman, 2 are sophomores. So it can come from any angle. It just kind of depends on what opens up for us, who's in the right position. Even versus Harris County, we brought a player off the bench who probably hasn't been seen much of, and he changed the game for us a little bit. So we have a lot of different weapons that we can use depending on what the game calls for. So from us, to summarize it, what you'll see from us is not an individual, but a collection of talent.
What's it like to get key contributions from somebody, like an Isaac Klein, who's, dropped 19 and 13 for you this year? What's it like to have the underclassmen help out the upperclassmen immediately and just kind of step right in and everything be okay?
It's great to have. I mean, to have the depth, to have the versatility, to have the youth, to blend that with the experience that we've got. And our upperclassmen have been great. They've set great examples in terms of what it's like to be a good teammate, what it's like to be a good role model, and what it takes to be a good team. The one good spirit we have about our team this season is It's no jealousy or envy. We got some players that play more than others, but those players that don't play are just as important because they've been able to help us replicate the things that we anticipate to see, and they've been vitally important. I think without those players, Decatur's not where they are today.
How long did it take for everything to get to full song when it came to the integration of the underclassmen and the upperclassmen, or is that still kind of a work in progress even to this point?
So from day one, the unity of the group was actually pretty tight. What's taken a little bit while to get going is just in terms of how we like to work as a team, in terms of from the coaching side, right? The understanding in terms of the preparation and the execution, right? And as they have matured as a team and how they looked at the game, we're now seeing better results and better performances on the field. But the bond that these players have off the field and how they treat one another has been fantastic from day one.
What has study hall been like getting ready for Cass? I mean, how many late nights have you had since the Chattahoochee win, or is it just I'll look at something, I'll see a tendency, I kind of know, or are you more focused on yourself because of quick turns?
Well, one, I think it's one day too soon. Honestly, I would like at least one more day of preparation. After a big result versus Chattahoochee, you kind of need a day to kind of mentally kind of reset. And then once you take that day to reset, you only got 24 hours to get prepared. So preparation is looking at video, putting together a practice plan, putting together a game plan, teaching it, having the players ask questions, and have the players teach it, right? And for me, we need about at least 3 days to do that, and we've only really had two. So I feel like we're going in one day short, but so has Cass, right? So the same problems we have is the same problems that they have. But it's the Final Four. And I think a lot of teams and a lot of players, a lot of coaches would like to have those same types of problems.
No doubt about it. For anyone who hasn't seen 5A across the board, how tough is 5A when it comes to a classification here in the state of Georgia?
Man, as we said to our players, when we got to the quarterfinals, you got some teams that's been kind of successful a little bit more than others over the last few seasons. But looking at the results, looking at some of the performances of the teams that were in the quarterfinals, we felt as a coaching staff and also as a team that any one of those teams can be in the Final Four in the finals. So it's pretty balanced well across the board in terms of competition. You know, if it is a favorite, it's a slight favorite. I don't think it's a heavy favorite in what's going in, and I think that's good for the sport. It's good for high school soccer, and is overall good quality on the field.
What's it been like to see the support there within the city schools of Decatur to see this run, and knowing there haven't been any home matches for you, you're having to do everything on the road, but what's it been like to see the support that you guys have gotten this year?
Well, it's great. I mean, the one thing about high school soccer that it delivers that club soccer doesn't. You get to play in front of your friends, your family, and it's almost like club versus country, right? So it's almost like represent your team for the World Cup versus representing your club team, where club teams can change pretty frequently for various reasons, but your country's your country, right? So with City of Decatur being so small and so knit, and the high school being right smack in the middle of the city, it's great. So the boys feel really great about walking in the hallway wearing their soccer gear. We get a lot of support from the other coaches and the other sports within the school, and that's always great to get that recognition, especially for the hard work that we put in.
When are you leaving?
We're leaving today at about 3:30.
Okay.
So I'll be meeting the boys at about 2, pregame meal, pregame meeting, and then hour and a half, hour 45-minute drive on the bus, and then time to get to work.
May the traffic in Atlanta on a Friday as you head north on 75 be with you, sir. Derek, thanks for coming on with us. Thanks for being a great friend to SDH all season long. Good luck against Cass. And as I said, may the traffic be with you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
There we go. That's the Decatur side of things. And it is going to be, once again, 5A, as you fill out your brackets and pen, 5A on the right-hand side. Decatur has done it as a 4 seed. They have done it as a 4. One of those 4 seeds, and we've talked about 4 seeds. Northside Columbus was a 4 seed. Riverwood Boys and Girls was a 4 seed, making it deep into the playoffs. And now you see what's going on with Decatur. Decatur and Cass, they've done it all on the road. At Greenbrier, in Hamilton against Harris County, at Chattahoochee, now right-hand side of the bracket in 5A, and they're going up against Cass. 14-5-3 Decatur, 4-2 in region play, still ranked 35th in the state. in 5A, which shows you the depth of everything that's been going on. They've got a 4-game win streak heading into this one. And in 22 matches, they've only given up 25 goals. So it's 3 over 22. It's, like 1.1, 1.18, 1.2 per match. And they've scored 93 goals in 22 matches. So 4.5 on average to like 1.8 when you're looking at things offensively and defensively for them. Cass comes into this one at 15-3-1 for the matchup coming up at 7 o'clock in White, Georgia. Because, when you're traveling north, I think it's exit 2, was it 293 or 296 is the Cassville White Road exit. That's the one that you take when you pass the brewing plant on the right-hand side in the northbound lanes as you're heading north. So that's where White is. Cass technically is in Bartow County in the town of White. White is where Cass is. And so looking forward to this particular matchup on the right-hand side of the bracket. But Cass, 15-3-1, ran through region at 5-0, ranked 25th in the state of Georgia according to the Max Preps poll. And so you have number 34 going up against number 25. And so really looking forward to this one in 5A and hopefully getting the chance to catch up with folks coming up in short order. We can break things down from the Cass perspective. Looks like we're also going to be catching up with Frank Zamora from Johnson Gainesville, and Ben Grassmeyer might be able to catch up with us and see what's going on with what's going on around the state. So as promised, time to catch up with things on the Cass side. And, Coach Fitzgerald, Coach John Nelson here in the studio. Thanks for dropping by. What am I stealing you away from, lunch hour or class?
It's lunch hour right now. So, yeah, it's good timing.
All right. So 15-3-1. When this season, if I had told you that you would have been 15-3-1 and that you would have been able to get to where you are, 5-0 in region play, getting ready for this particular matchup, what would you have told me if I'd said that was going to be the situation from day one of a training camp?
I think we would have said you've been close. I think the biggest surprise maybe was the 5-0 in region. Dalton is always a monster in the state. And, I don't think they've lost region in 20 years up until this year. So outside of that, we had an idea that we were going to be a pretty good team. I had essentially everybody coming back from last year. So, we made the schedule such that we were going to play some difficult teams. And, a couple of them are still around in the Final Four of teams we played on the schedule this year. So, but to be 15-3, that's maybe a little higher than I would have predicted, but
you'll take it, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's been a good ride so far.
When you look at the playoff run,
and
you see how things were. For those that are filling in their brackets out in pen, it's upper right-hand section going up against Decatur. With you had a home match against Cambridge. You win it 2-1. Chapel Hill came. You had a big margin victory there. And then you go on the road to Tucker, and you beat Tucker out of DeKalb County 3-2. When you look at your playoff run, what has stuck out to you?
I think resiliency. I think the thing that I'm most proud about this team is it's easy to win when you're playing your best. I think good teams win when things are going well, and you can play. I feel like great teams find a way to get it done even when things are kind of going against them. And we had several tough breaks in the Tucker match. Cambridge is a really, really strong defensive team. You can look at their season. I mean, they held everybody down, of some really good teams, Chattahoochee and Kell, and really strong defensive team. And so I think the thing that stands out about the run is just the resiliency to overcome things, to play big in big moments. So, it's just been a collective great effort from really everyone.
From someone who hasn't, or for someone who hasn't had the chance to see you play this year.
Yeah.
And, obviously going up against Dalton, I know that a lot of folks probably would have you in the bullseye or the spot shadow or what have you. It's like, oh, we'll focus on this game because it's going to mean region 1 at 1 and 2. And it meant that Dalton had to go on the road to take on McIntosh and in the round before. For someone who hasn't had the chance to see you play, How would you best describe when things are going well offensively and defensively, what folks are seeing there in front of them when they bought their ticket and they've wandered in the door and they're sitting down watching you go?
Yeah, no, I think we play an exciting brand of soccer. We have a lot of possession, and we've had some really high possession number nights this season where we're in the 65-70% range possession wise. It has not always been that way, the case all season, but we're a pretty good possession team. But we like to go forward fast. We have probably 6 or 7 guys that can score goals effectively, versus I would say other teams that you watch across the state usually have that 1 or 2 strikers or guys up top that handle the attacking load. We come at you in waves from a lot of different directions, and so I think it's an exciting brand of football or soccer for our part, and so it's just fun. I think we like to score goals. And we play a very attacking style of soccer. In that, you have to be pretty good defensively because we like to throw a lot of numbers forward. And so when you do that, you leave yourself a little susceptible in the back. And so, we have to have some guys that really can play smart soccer in the back and be able to not just win balls, but then be able to get it to us so we can keep that possession and go.
3.5 goals, I think, on average this season per match, and giving up a little over 1 per match defensively. I like to ask coaches, especially in the playoffs, what they've learned about themselves. And I think that you can learn as much, if not more, about yourself in a loss than you can, winning all the time. If you ran the table 19-0, it'd be fantastic. Great. I know you wouldn't complain about something like that coming into a semifinal. But when you lose to Southeast Whitfield, and you lose to Coahulla Creek, and you lose to South Paulding, obviously that ain't nothing to sneeze at. But what did you learn about yourself in those losses that you were able to carry forward in this season up to this point?
No, in a couple of those, I think those were really good lessons, not just for me, but for the team. Starting with that Coahulla Creek match, I think we outshot them 28-5, somewhere in there. But we gave up a goal in the first 5 minutes, and that's what it takes. And I think the boys kind of realized, the gravity of it. It doesn't matter if you're better or not. Like at the end of the day, you still have to kind of execute some things and not make some silly mistakes. And in those matches, that's kind of the case. I think the Southeast game really helped us kind of solidify some problem areas for us. And I don't know that if we hadn't had that game, I don't know that we would be here right now, talking to you. I think it kind of identified some weaknesses for us in terms of how teams may attack us. And we've had some time to kind of rectify some of those situations, which really came into play, honestly, against Tucker. So, hopefully that carries forward tonight with Decatur, who I know is a really, really strong team.
What is my last question for you, and thanks for hanging out here during your lunch hour, and I was able to steal you away from some moments to yourself during lunch hour with a rare moment of peace, I'm sure. Frank Zamora from Johnson Gainesville coming up here in short order. When it comes to the crowd and the crowds and the fan support that you've got there at Cass, what has it been like to see the community give the support that they have given you this season for Colonels and Colonels football?
Yeah, no, it's honestly, that's maybe the best part. And I had that conversation yesterday as we ended training about taking in just what the community, I mean, it is everywhere. And it'll be, I imagine, a very full and raucous crowd tonight. And they traveled well at Tucker. They were loud at Tucker. But tonight, I think they're having a blue out. I've gotten messages from just about every elementary school, middle school, the Cartersville community about being at the game tonight. So it should be a lot of fun. But when you talk about it, this isn't something that happens a lot in Bartow County. This is the farthest anybody's been in Bartow County for soccer. And so, but there's a really good brand of soccer that's going on around here. And it's nice for people to start kind of coming into soccer and not just football, I guess, around here. And so it's been great for all of us.
No doubt about it. With what Coach Gates is doing in the FOOTBALL,
absolutely,
and what you're doing there on the FUTBOL side, it's great to see what the Cass Colonels are doing. Coach, thanks for dropping by. I know it's going to be a big night for you there in white. Looking forward to the matchup on the right-hand side of the bracket with you in Decatur. Thanks for being a part of In Session Live.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right. That is Coach Fitzgerald, and he is hanging out. Derek, I don't know what's going on with my connections, but thanks for dropping by. It's great to see you, my friend, and good luck tonight with the roadies, like we said. All right, so be good. We'll see you soon. So there he goes. Okay, and me hitting buttons and triggers and things. So, all right, so that's 2 coaches down, and we got 2 to go. Frank Zamora coming in and Johnson Gainesville coming up in just a little bit, and so we'll see what's going on with Johnson Gainesville. Before Johnson Gainesville pops up, let me show you something, and it has to do with our friends at Jeff Davis. And what I may do next week is try to bring in some of the programs that we got to learn about this year, and the lessons that we kind of made here going forward. And so it's been really fun this year to find out about places like Gilmer, and when you have coaches, they'll drop by and they'll say, here, take this with you, because this is how we're trying to help grow the sport, these kinds of things here. Our friends at Jeff Davis, Los Catch Boys, Coach Lawson, they had a great run. They lost in PKs, and they lost in AA in the right-hand side of the bracket. And so they came up, obviously, a couple matches short than what they were chasing after this season. Region champ and home playoff matches, all those kinds of things. And it's great to see how things are developing there in the Pinelands. So I got a bit of a care package. I got a care package from our friends in the Pinelands, and this is part of it. And so this is Jeff Davis, Jeff Davis SC, Jeff Davis Football Club. Got some of these sent by Coach Lawson. And, once again, obviously the sponsors, Pallet One and Sun One Logistics, but got a handful of these. And I need to get larger sizes because my laundry skills are awful. But once again, Jeff Davis, FC, great to get this. And got that on a couple of different fronts. And also, you ended up with this from our friends at Die Hard. And Die Hard plugged in with our friends in the Pinelands right there. Jeff Davis, FC, and you got to see all of the great imagination that they have going on. It's 2-sided. So once again, right here, Jeff Davis SC, and I would roll it, but when I tried to roll it earlier today, it ended up like going out all over the place, and you couldn't see. But it's a 2-sided scarf, and it's going to be hanging here in the office. So right there, there's your 2 sides. Jeff Davis right there with what we were able to see with Los Catch Boys this season. And thanks to our friends in the Pinelands and Coach Lawson. Great to see what you guys are doing down there, and great to see what's going on with Jeff Davis. And so what I might do is let everybody know just kind of what it's been like to see the sport grow, and take a bit of a wider idea as to how things have been here in the state, and just let everybody see how everyone's growing, basically. And so just kind of one of those things, and see how everyone is what they've learned from this season in the non-traditional markets. Catch up with our friendly Homskis in Lincoln County. Catch up with Coach Lawson at Jeff Davis. Catch up with our friends at Gilmer and find out how things are up in LJ, and work our way around the state and see some of the success stories, Glen Academy and Columbus and stuff like that. So that's what I may do in addition to get ready for the playoffs and get ready for the final matches and see what's going on. So I'm debating doing that next week. I think Heather Richardson from Social Circle is going to join us on Monday. And so what I may do, in addition to getting everybody ready for the finals matchups and catching up with the teams that have made it to the last match of the year in their respective classes, is sit here and go, okay, in this classification, we'll catch up with so-and-so. What did you learn? And so we'll see what's going on with that. And so that's what I'm debating next week as a part of what's learning about the final matchups, seeing what happens today on the boys' side, and progressing through and seeing what's going on. So waiting on Ben Grassmeyer from North Oconee to find out what happened on the girls' side last night. Also seeing if Frank Zamora can drop by sometime between now and 1 o'clock for Johnson Gainesville, so we can get the perspective from them on the left-hand side of the bracket in their classification. So let's go over what happened last night in the brackets on the girls' side, and we'll get you through all of the finals, and we'll get you through what's going on with the matchups and when they are and where they're going to be. Reminder, May 7 through 10 of the championships. May 7 and 8, it's at Mercer. 7, 8, and 9, it's at McEachern. 8, 9, and 10, it's at Duluth. So girls brackets, and we'll start in single A since we mentioned Social Circle. We mentioned Class A Division I. Social Circle beat Mount Vernon 5-3 in an 8-goal thriller in Social Circle. Social Circle advances to the last match of the year. They're going to take on Paideia. Paideia beat Atlanta International by the final of 2-0. So Paideia will be the home team at McEachern, just for the sake of benches and such. But Social Circle and Paideia, Paideia is the home team. They're Class A D1, and that'll be your final once again on the 7th at 5 o'clock at McEachern. Class A D2, Aquinas beat Towns County by the final of 1-0, and that will be Aquinas advancing from the left-hand side. Lake Oconee Academy shut out Atlanta Classical 3-0. So Aquinas and Lake Oconee Academy. Lake Oconee Academy is the home team designee. 7 o'clock. It'll be 5 o'clock May the 7th at Mercer University 5-star. So Aquinas, Lake Oconee Academy, they're going to Mercer and they're going to play at 5-star. 2A girls, Ace Charter and Fellowship Christian. Fellowship Christian had 2 players with braces in the 2 players, 2 goals each, that kind of a brace. So it was 3-0 at the break, 7-1 final. Fellowship Christian over Ace Charter. They advance, and they're going to take on Mount Perrin Christian. Mount Perrin Christian doubled model 4-2, second match in a row. The Eagles won by 4-2. And so Mount Perrin Christian, they advance. They're going to be the home team taking on Fellowship Christian. That's going to be in Macon at Mercer, 5 o'clock on May the 8th on next Wednesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's when the championships are going to be. So that is AA girls. AAA girls, Oconee County had a 1-0 lead. That stayed. So Oconee County 1, Dawson County 0. Oconee County advances. The Wesleyan School will be the home side as Wesleyan beat Columbus by the final of 3-1 in Columbus. And so Wesleyan hosting Oconee County. Technically, they're the home team. 5 o'clock May the 8th at McEachern. So we're going to put a bookmark in the girls at AAA. We're going to see if Ben Grassmeyer has recovered from field day and anything else that's going on. Have you recovered from field day, Coach?
Field day is still going on over here in the middle school, so it's a tiring day, but we're here.
All right. So how much sleep did you get last night after the win?
Not as much as I'd like, but that's all right. I prefer it that way.
All right. So we were going through the brackets and we had bookmarked things in AAA. So tell you what, we'll go to Quad A and find out what happened as Lovett beat Cherokee Bluff 7-0. It was 6-0. I think it was 3-0 at the break. They had 12 shots on goal to 6. 4 more in the second half. They won at 7-0. Lovett and North Oconee. North Oconee beats Westminster on a goal at 80+3. Take me through the match.
Yeah, we know what that team is, and that's the team that knocked us out last year. So it was a game that meant a lot to us. It was a 0-0 game till overtime. But I really felt we deserved a win there. We kind of had conversations on the sideline just as it was 0-0, saying we would feel it would be cruel to lose this game. We had chances, and we felt we were the team creating the most chances. We just weren't able to find the back of the net until this first half of the overtime, and kind of an unlikely goal scorer too, which was a fantastic moment for that player. But a hunker down for the next 15 minutes kind of thing too. So
you get through 80, the goal happens at 80+3, and then everything has to ramp up because you've got to get through that 7. What was the conversation after 80 plus 10 to make sure that you could bring it home in that final 10 minutes?
Yeah, your mind's going everywhere, and it's really just hang on. Like, I mean, just 10 more. Like, there's not much else to say, but we actually stepped back because our two captains were huddling the girls up and getting into them, saying we win every challenge, we clear everything, you don't lose a tackle. And it was really a captain-led talk. As soon as we saw that, we just kind of backed off and said, yeah, they've got it. I mean, this team's got it. So we dropped our wingers just a bit deeper, and that was really it. Kind of transitioned to a 4-5-1 and just kind of sat in a little bit and just reminded them one more time, if the ball's out of bounds, relax, take your time, and just see it out.
I'm not going to ask about Lovett yet because that's next week, and I know that I'm going to want to circle back with you next week as we get closer. Sure. and you get ready for your travel plans. But when it came to this season, what has this season meant to you and to the North Oconee program to do what you've been able to do and get to the last game of the year?
It's been very special. I think it's been a little bit of a surprise to everyone on the outside, including some, parents and things like that. But kind of on the inside, we always knew if we could click at the right times, we have pieces to be special. I think the belief in the team is at an ultimate high. We've kind of just built that belief over the past few games, and we may not be the deepest and most talented team, but we've got heart, and we've got fight, and we've got a connected group. So we're looking forward to next week and giving it all one more time.
Some folks have you ranked top 20 in the state of Georgia across all classifications. And I know that some folks get wrapped up in polls, or they'll wait until after the season to sit there and what they've accomplished to get wrapped up in a poll. Oh, yeah, we had a great, it was a good season. We did this, and somebody ranked us here, and that was cool. How do you have the players not focus on everything that's there, that with all the social media and everything? How do you get them to not focus on that and focus on the task at hand?
I think our girls are really realistic. I don't think they get too wrapped up in what the outside soccer world is saying or what it's looking like. They're very good at, we have Lovett. That's the only thing that matters. What can we do and to get ready? I believe the coaching staff we have do a really good job with preparing for an individual game. So that's we got some homework to do this weekend, and really watching film and getting the girls ready. But I think they have some good trust in us to prepare them. And it's, again, kind of going back to it's a united group, coaches included, and it's a tight-knit group, and we all really care about each other, and we're all going to push our all into this next one.
And we will catch up with you next week to get all of those answers as you get closer and you have a little chance to study and go through study hall and get ready for Lovett. I just wanted to poke my head in the door and catch up with you briefly just to see how you've recovered, if you have, after what happened yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll catch up with you again next week as we get closer to the matchup. Thanks for dropping by. Hopefully, Mother Nature will not rain on you for the remainder of field day. You get it done and everything's cool. Have a great weekend. We'll catch up with you next week.
All right. Thanks, John.
That's Coach Grassmeyer. He had to go the extra 20 minutes before he ended up with a 1-0 win on the girls' side. Time to catch up with friend of the network, head coach Frank Zamora, Johnson Gainesville, and find out what's going on with Johnson Gainesville. Coach, thanks for dropping by.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
As always, it's great to catch up with you. And 17-1-1, 10-0 in region. You ran the table, nationally ranked in the top 20. And you end up Georgia right now, top 10. When we talk about what I like to talk about when it comes to learning about yourself, not through wins, but through draws and losses. In that one draw and the one loss, what do you think you learned about yourself as a group going forward? Because you had the draw with Meadow Creek in match number 3. That was the match with Dalton that we had on our air early in the season, and then you've just run the table since. What did you learn about yourself in those 2 matches early on in the year?
No, early on we had some struggles at the beginning of the season, but playing the type of schedule that we played with Meadow Creek, who, was at the moment a strong team, And then Dalton, powerhouse Dalton, you run the risk of losing those games, or, run the risk of a tie. But at the end of the day, those are teams that are going to expose, they're going to expose the weaknesses that your squad has. And so, afterwards we sat down, we watched film, and we looked at what we needed to improve on. And so that's something that we did, the boys took very seriously afterwards. Nobody likes to lose, but those hard losses definitely are beneficial in the long run, keeping in mind the goals that we have. So, it brought the group together. It also, gave us a sense of reality as well. And the fact that we needed to go in and fight and, work hard every single game.
One of I guess one of the things that we all got to discover was how important underclassmen have been for you this year. And I don't think that there's any other example but what we got to see between the sticks with Benjamin Villatoro stepping in for you. And I want to say it was in the Dalton match was when he came in, if I'm not mistaken, and he seems to have just stepped in and embraced the role of being your starting keeper ever since. What's it been like for him to step in a match that was that important, take over the role, and not give it up? What's it been like to see a freshman between the sticks develop for you?
Yeah, no, it's definitely exciting. Exciting for multiple reasons to see such a young kid step up and play big for us in big games, big environments, was huge. But the most exciting thing is that we have him for the next 3 years, and so his future is definitely bright. And we're excited to have him, and he's worked hard and he's earned every minute that he's gotten. Obviously our starting goalkeeper before him goes down with an injury. And so he was put in the fire and he responded well. And, we're just really excited for him. We're happy to have him. And we're excited to see what he can do in the future.
And when you have underclassmen step in or just have to integrate for one reason or another, if it's injury, that's going to happen. If they end up being a true talent as an underclassman, freshman or a sophomore, and they end up being a part of your starting 11, how long traditionally has it taken for them to integrate, to be a part of the lineup and make an impact? Or is it something that they're still having to learn as the season goes along? Are these underclassmen still learning about the Johnson way, even this late point of the season?
I think that the boys here, they have the mentality of you can always improve, you can always get better, and we keep the competition alive. So those younger guys that are in the starting lineup, they know that they have to continue to perform, continue to work hard, continue to grow, and learn from the upperclassmen. Learn from the seniors before they head out, before they graduate, right? So obviously players like Edgar, and Andres. Have been good leaders for us, and they're teaching the young guys and sharing with them as well. And so, that's one of the things that I tell the younger guys is like, take advantage of the opportunities you get, but also learn from everybody else. And, we have a close-knit group, more like a family. And so everybody's always trying to help each other out. But at the same time, they know that sometimes at practice, they have to compete against one another for those minutes, and so our younger guys are hungry and they're constantly working hard and constantly looking for ways to improve and get better.
Because when you look at your 10th graders, and I mean, this is just like coming in waves and waves and waves, you end up with Josue Mendoza, who has helped you out putting the ball in the net from the back. Another 10th grader, Jordi Acosta, has had a half a dozen goals. You look at Junior Castillo, who's a double-digit goal scorer. And you have those. That's your 10th graders, man. I mean, that's huge to get that kind of an impact.
Yeah, no, those three that you mentioned, came in this year and claimed a starting spot. Josue Mendoza, actually, since last year, he was the one that started as a freshman for us. We had to slide him in as a center back this year. He played on the outside back for us, but he's done a great job as a center back, like you mentioned, getting into the attack, especially on set pieces. And then Junior Castillo, we expected him to step up, but he's having a phenomenal year. So we're excited for him as well, and just being a sophomore. He has 2 years left here with us. And then Jordi Acosta really coming in and playing a holding mid position for us, after graduating Christian Robles. And he's been phenomenal as well. And so, it's young talent that get a lot of experience. And therefore, when they're juniors and seniors, they already have 2-3 years of varsity soccer, making deep runs into the playoffs under their belt. And that's definitely, it's definitely an advantage getting to this point. in the season when you've been there, you know what it takes, you know the environment, you're familiar with it, and so we're definitely excited for the future.
Frank Zamora, the head coach of Johnson Gainesville, hanging out with us here. Soccer's in Session live, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente, as we break down brackets and we find out what's going on all around the state. And Northwest Whitfield visiting the Dungeon later today, going up against Johnson Gainesville here, left-hand side of the bracket as you fill things out in Penn and Quad A. I want to talk about your seniors a little bit too, and what we've been able to see from them. You end up with you have David Arteaga, who has contributed 7 assists. He's also helped you out on goals. You end up with Julian Pimentel, who's committed to Piedmont. He's been a contributor for you as well. We'd mentioned Andres Galicia and Edgar Vasquez. What's it been like to see these seniors come through, grow as young men and as student athletes, and to be the contributors that they are both on the field and off for you?
No, it's been an amazing journey for us. As coaches and teachers, that's what it's all about. It's helping these kids develop into great men, great student athletes, great players, great just overall men of character. And to see their transformation throughout the last 4 years has been a blessing to me. This is a group that was the group that lost the championship game in 2021. So they felt that heartbreak, but this is also the group that went back to back, and get an opportunity to make it a three-peat this year. And so it's been a blessing having those guys around, and it's been awesome.
How do you keep that pressure from being bad pressure? Because I like to think of pressure being 3 things. It can be good pressure, it can be bad pressure, or it can be just pressure that is in the room and it's just like, yeah, okay, you're over there sitting in a corner and I know you exist. How do you keep it from being bad pressure, knowing what the expectations for that program is year in and year out?
Yeah, no, one of the biggest things that we talk to the boys is about staying hungry and humble. Definitely we want more. We want more success. We wanted to continue to add to the legacy of Johnson High School soccer. But at the same time, we realize that it takes a lot of hard work and it could be taken from us in any minute, and so being hungry and humble is always in our vocabulary, is always in our messages. The pressure is going to be there. These are 16, 17-year-old kids, but they know the community supports them. They know the school's behind them. And so, it's been a full team effort all around. We're enjoying the process. We're enjoying the journey, taking it one step at a time. We're not thinking about anything else other than our match tonight and, taking care of business then. But it's kind of breaking the season down into steps and looking at what's in front of us without trying to get ahead of ourselves, and always just believing in one another and working together.
So what has study hall been like getting ready for Northwest Whitfield?
We spent multiple hours watching film with my coaching staff and relaying that information to our boys. We did a couple walkthroughs yesterday, just kind of getting ready for a team that's going to come in and ready to compete. And, they're playing well, playing good soccer. They've gone on a roll too. And so, we're just excited. It's going to be a great match.
And I know that when we get to come up there and we get to see how things are up there at Johnson Gainesville, the support is completely and totally just off the charts. And it's fun for us to see those kinds of things. And I know it's integral to what you get to do up there. What's it like for you? Do you ever get the chance to sit there and look across the field? Because the way that it's set up, for those that have never been, the benches are on the opposite side. You're up against the forest, you're up against the fence line, and you're staring at the stands. Do you ever get a chance to sit there and look at a crowd when the place is absolutely packed and just see that it's packed and the support that you have? Do you get a chance to enjoy it at all?
Typically, from the videos, the afterwards, the pictures that are taken from the games, during the game is just so intense, and you're always thinking about, the game, what's next, how can you improve, where are you being attacked, and all these things, that it's hard for us to take that moment and realize just how blessed we are with our community support. It's been a community effort. We get a couple hundred to 1,000 fans in some of our big games, especially, last Tuesday, the stadium was packed. The energy that you feel in the stadium, it's something special, and the kids, love that. They love the fact that their community shows up, and it's this unique relationship where they know they're playing for the community. The community shows up for the boys. And it's one of the things we talk about is the responsibility and the privilege. You have the privilege to be able to wear that Johnson jersey, step on the field, represent hundreds and thousands of people. But at the same time, you have the responsibility to play well for them, and to just do everything you do, keeping them in mind and valuing what they do for us. And so, man, it's just a really unique relationship that we have with our community.
No doubt about it. And here in the office, let me see if I can point it out. The office right there, right there is the Johnson scarf that we have here as a part of our travels. Last question for you. When I'm in American football season, there is there's a story that we do. It's a recurring theme, and we call it "Make That Kid an Offer." And it has to do with an American football student athlete in the state of Georgia, for a school that we're talking to. For whatever reason, that student athlete is too small, too slow. They don't fit, whatever. For whatever reason, they're too whatever to get the kind of offer that you as a coach feel that they deserve because of what they're doing, not just on the field, but off of it. Is there anybody there at Johnson Gainesville that you think is either underlooked, underappreciated, or just not getting any kind of a look whatsoever for the next level of playing their career and furthering it, that do you think you would sit there and go, make that kid an offer? Is there anybody that fits the make that kid an offer idea there at Johnson Gainesville?
I think the one that comes to mind this year, the senior from the senior group, is David Arteaga. He's had a couple of offers. He's kind of still debating whether or not he wants to play at the next level. But I think that David Arteaga has been a tremendous kid in our program, not just on the field, but the motivation, the positivity that he brings to the program, his work ethic, his dedication to the program, to the team, to himself, is above average that you see. And so he would be one that we would, kind of like, hey, here he is, give him a chance.
That guy. And no doubt about it. And Jason and Maddie and I have tried to find from any elevated platform possible that if Edgar Vasquez is not the player of the year in the state of Georgia across all classifications, then that's our vote. That is our vote. It is Edgar Vasquez, Edgar Vasquez, Edgar Vasquez. Because, and for those that haven't had the chance, I would say go back and listen to the matchup against Gainesville. Go back and listen to that matchup, and you get to see. And he had moments too when you were down in the playoffs where he had a set piece and you had to come back from behind again in the playoffs. And who was the guy that was the one putting the ball in the back of the net, getting the help from everybody else? It's the SDH nominated player of the year, Edgar Vasquez, in all classifications and all comps. You've been a joy this season to watch. I know that you want your season to continue for another couple of matches. We've just been it's been a privilege for us, and it's been a joy for us to see what you've been able to do there at Johnson Gainesville for another season. I've kept you for an incredible amount of time because there's always rabbit holes that I end up going down here to talk about stuff. Good luck tonight against Northwest Whitfield. We'll be keeping an eye on you. And once again, good luck in the semis. We'll catch up with you soon, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That is Frank Zamora, the head coach at Johnson Gainesville. And if you have not seen Johnson Gainesville, I can't say this loudly enough. Go watch a Johnson Gainesville match. It's fun, first and foremost, but you get to see what it means in these communities, and what football means and what community means, and it is a true happening to see Johnson Gainesville at home. If you are anywhere near Johnson Gainesville tonight, go. Watch this matchup against Northwest Whitfield. Watch the matchup against Northwest Whitfield tonight. And it'll be a fun one just for the sake of the environment. And remember, Northwest Whitfield came and they were a part of the Whitfield Hall County Challenge. They took on East Hall. They were a part. So I know where the film started for Coach Zamora and Johnson Gainesville. It started with that matchup early on in the season that they had there in their building. Guarantee you that's where things started. But no, it's fun to catch up with Coach Grassmeyer. First and foremost, thanks to Coach Burgess. Thanks to Coach Fitzgerald, previewing the Decatur and Cass matchup. And great to catch up with Coach Grassmeyer after the win. Took him a little extra time to get there, but they got the win and they advanced. And so they advance. We'll catch up with him again next week because we know he's playing again next week. And we'll catch up with as many of the coaches as we can that have made it to the last match of the year. We'll catch up with as many of them as we can next week as we get you ready for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And we'll try to catch up with coaches heading into their matchup and then after their matchup. So once again, one more week of Soccer's in Session Live, Championship Week edition. And we'll catch up with as many coaches as we can. Obviously, the shows might be a little shorter, but we'll try to catch up with as many folks as we can when it comes to Soccer is in Session, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. All right, let's get back through the brackets and wrap up what's going on. We had North Oconee. We had stopped at North Oconee on the girls' side in Quad A. 5A girls. Actually, let's recap. Let's go all the way back to the beginning in case you missed something. Class A D1, Social Circle beat Mount Vernon 5-3. Paideia beat Atlanta International 2-0. Social Circle, Paideia. Paideia is the home team, May the 7th, 5 o'clock at McEachern. Class A D2. Aquinas beat Towns County 1-0. And Aquinas advances. They take on Lake Oconee Academy, the top team in the classification. Lake Oconee Academy beat Atlanta Classical at Silverbacks Park by the final of 3-0. So it's Aquinas, Lake Oconee Academy, and Lake Oconee Academy is the home side designee, May the 7th at 5-star, Mercer and Macon. AA girls. Ace Charter lost to Fellowship Christian 7-1. Two players had 2 goals each. It was 3-0 at the break, 7-1 final. Fellowship Christian, Mount Perrin Christian, May the 8th, 5 o'clock at Mercer University. And Mount Perrin Christian for the second match in a row beats a team 4-2. They beat Model 4-2, and they had beaten, coming out of their bracket, in the quarterfinals, Fitzgerald 4-2 before that. So Fellowship Christian, Mount Perrin Christian, May 8th, 5 o'clock, 5-star. Home team is Mount Perrin Christian. AAA girls. Oconee County had a 1-0 lead. They hung on, and Watkinsville beat Dawson County 1-0. They advanced. They'll take on Wesleyan. Wesleyan beat Columbus, and Columbus 3-1. Wesleyan had beaten St. Vincent's by 8. They had beaten Hebron Christian by 7, and they had shut out LFO in round number 1. 26 goals to 1 in the postseason. It's now 29-2, and they get to be the home team designee May the 8th, 5 o'clock at McEachern, and that is Class AAA girls. Quad A girls. It is Lovett, 7-0 winners at Cherokee Bluff. 3-0 at the break, 7-0 final. 12 shots on target compared to 6 in the first half for Lovett. They'll play North Oconee and Ben Grassmeyer. Ben Grassmeyer's group scored at 80 plus 3 with Schlossberg getting the goal to put them on the board, and it stayed 80 plus 3, and they would go 100 minutes and win 1-0 over Westminster. So North Oconee's the home designee. May 8th, 5 o'clock, going up against Lovett at Duluth High School in Duluth. 5A girls. GAC in penalties beat Jefferson 4-2. It's 1-1 after 80, 90, and 100. And so they go to PKs. GAC beat Jefferson 4-2. Jefferson hit the post in one of their penalties. And so GAC advances. They'll take on Cambridge. Cambridge beat McIntosh 1-0 at Cambridge. So GAC and Cambridge. Cambridge is your home team designee. May the 9th, 5 o'clock at Duluth High School. 6A girls. Roswell and Marist. Roswell went to PKs, beat Lassiter 4-2 in PKs, goalless after 100 minutes. Roswell will play Marist. Marist beat Johns Creek 6-1. May the 9th, 5 o'clock at McEachern. Roswell and Marist, that's 6A. 7A girls, we know the matchup. We had half of it last night on the network. 4-2, crazy match with North Forsyth coming out of the right-hand side. And they're going to be at Duluth High School May the 10th as the home team after they beat North Gwinnett. Buford had to go to penalties, beating Walton 1-1 after 100 minutes, 3-2 in penalties. Buford wins, and Buford advances. They'll take on West Forsyth, number 1 versus number 2, and that is the girls' side in the championships. Like I said, we'll catch up with girls' winners. I know we'll catch up with Coach Richardson on Monday for Soccer's in Session Live. Boys' brackets. Class A Division I, Paideia and Mount Vernon. That's going to be at Paideia. Whitfield Academy and Atlanta International. And that is you're going to have the winners there play each other May the 7th. They're the night game, May the 7th at McEachern. Class A D2 boys. We'll get your start times coming up in a bit. Atlanta Classical has to travel to Atkinson County to take on Atco. And so Atlanta Classical travels to Pearson. And Atlanta Classical probably is already on the road, taking on Atco in Pearson, left-hand side. Georgia Military caught up with Bobby Jaworski a couple days ago. GMC gets to travel to Dalton to take on Christian Heritage. Atlanta Classical at Atco, GMC at Christian Heritage. Winners play May the 7th, 7:30 at 5-star. AA boys. Fellowship Christian is at Toombs County, and that one's in Lyons. Models hosting Providence Christian. Winners there play May the 8th, 7:30 at 5-star at Mercer University. AAA boys. Bremen at Hebron Christian, left-hand side of the bracket. Oconee County at Columbus, right-hand side. Those winners will play May the 8th, 7:30. They're the nightcap at McEachern on that day. Quad A boys. Mentioned Northwest Whitfield, Johnson, Gainesville. Right-hand side of the bracket, Holy Innocents is traveling to Fritz Orfield to take on Westminster. Winners of those play May the 8th, 7:30 at Duluth. 5A boys. Midtown at McIntosh. That is at McIntosh. Cass hosting Decatur. Like I said, great to catch up with Coach Burgess. Great to catch up with Coach Fitz. Decatur at Cass. Decatur comes through as a 4-seed. Cass ranked number 4 in the classification as the top team in Region 7. So Decatur and Cass right-hand side, Midtown and McIntosh left-hand side. Winners there play May the 9th, 7:30 at Duluth. 6A boys. Glen Academy hosts Sprayberry. Sprayberry beat Woodward Academy at Woodward Academy. Glen Academy beat Lassiter 3-2. So Glen Academy, as the top team in Region 2, hosts Sprayberry as a 2-seed. That's the left-hand side. North Atlanta River Ridge. That's our matchup tonight. 7 o'clock kick. Pregame at 6:45. Maddie Cruz and I will be up there at River Ridge for that one. It'd be great to catch up with folks at River Ridge and broadcast that one for you. That is going to be our last match day. Match day 34 here on the network is going to be the right-hand side of the bracket. Winners there, May the 9th at McEachern. North Atlanta, River Ridge on our air tonight, 6A boys. 7A boys. Campbell hosting Archer. Archer beat Milton 1-0. Campbell beat Lambert 3-2. Maddie's crestfallen. Archer at Campbell. Kennesaw Mountain, who beat Colquitt County 2-1, travels to Discovery to take on the Titans. So it is Archer at Campbell, Kennesaw Mountain at Discovery, and this is the last match of the tournament weekend of May the 10th, 7:30, Duluth High School. So those are your matchups across the board. Let's check the start times and see if there's anything that's wonky tonight. Like I said, I anticipate that the boys, that matchup is going to have some that are going to be a little on the wonky side because of travel and such. So today, Fellowship in Toombs is at 6:30. Providence Christian Models at 6:45. Bremen Hebron Christians at 7, as is Decatur and Cass. Northwest Whitfield, Johnson, Gainesville. North Atlanta, River Ridge. Midtown and McIntosh. Sprayberry and Glen Academy. 7:30, Archer and Campbell. Kennesaw Mountain and Discovery. Holy Innocents and Westminster. Let's check the time on that. Let's check the time stamp on that one. So Westminster, 8 o'clock tonight. Holy Innocents. So 8 o'clock, Holy Innocents and Westminster. And so let's see if we can find the start time for Atco, because that is one that we are missing. So let's see if we can find the start time for Atkinson County and Atkinson County High School, and see if we've got a start time on this one coming into tonight. Atco, by the way, 12-3 and God, I hate pop-up windows, especially when they're loud. Okay, so no start time on the website, and if they're not going to pay money, then they don't need to have their pop-up windows available. All right, so nothing on their home page, but let's go to the high school page and find Atkinson County High School and see if we can come up with a start time for this one. And then we will let you go on your lunch hour, considering that we have kept you for the entire lunch hour, breaking everything down, boys and girls. So Atco tonight, let's see if we can come up with the calendar. And May the 3rd, that is the calendar. That is not May the 3rd. They're in testing, so we know that much. Let's see, boys soccer. Checking to see what it looks like there. Calendar. And they are in testing, but they're not saying what time things are going to be there in Pearson. So, okay. So I think we're on our own. 6 o'clock. Boys soccer Final Four at Atco, 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock tonight, bit of an early start, but no real surprise considering having to travel to Pearson for that one. So 6 o'clock, Atkinson County in single A when it comes to all of the brackets. So there you go. There we are. That is your boys. That's your girls recap. And that's how things are for Semifinal Friday. When we come back next week, well, actually tonight on the network at soccerdownhere.mixler.com, you can listen to North Atlanta and River Ridge. You've got that one right there for you. You can go on the web, soccerdownhere.mixler.com. You can go to the Mixler app right there, MIXLR. Download the app. Search for Soccer Down Here and Soccer Down Here 2. Follow, set your notifications for when we go live on each of those networks and each of those channels. You'll know where you can go. Live experience tonight's on both channels. Mixler channel gives you the high school. Soccer Down Here 2 gives you Atlanta United 2 and NYCFC 2. Our kickoff is at 6:45 with the pregame. The 2's kickoff is at 7 o'clock, pregame 7:33 kick from Kennesaw tonight. So once again, you want to listen to high school, there you go on the web, soccerdownhere.mixler.com. Download the Mixler app, and you can listen to it that way. Set your notifications on your phone. You can listen to it on your phone, listen to it on the web, listen to it all the time. So there you go. Once again, thanks to the coaches. Thanks to Coach Burgess at Decatur. Thanks to Coach Fitz at Cass. Thanks to Coach Grassmeyer, who's recovering from North Oconee. And thanks to Coach Zamora, who went long, and he put up with a lot of questions today from me when it comes to Johnson Gainesville. So that is your look at Semifinal Friday. We'll come back on Monday, get you ready for the finals, and take you all week long through the finals for Soccer's in Session Live, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. For everybody here at SDH, thanks for dropping by. Enjoy the games. If you're in the area, go watch. Go watch, I say, go watch. Have fun. Start your Friday. Stay dry. Take your rain gear with you. Be safe. Mucha Platiel, play it safe, everybody. It's the end of the show. That means I get to do this. Enjoy your matches tonight. We'll be back at it again on Monday at noon.